Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and this week I, Velga the Observer, am planning on sketching a bunch of foliage, right? And this is not the actual drawing that I will continue. I'm going to start from scratch. This is something I've been sketching out for a game that I'm working on the side, just for fun, as a hobby with a bunch of other people. But I like how I've drawn these foliage looking things, right? Bushes, this tree here, they pretty much look like broccolis. So I'm going to sketch a bunch of those today, and let's go with a screen size. And this is looking quite bright, so we're darkening it. And now we're going to go with this brush, Paint Roller Moist. So let's start with a dark, mossy colored green, about there. And I think, you know what, I might need to wear my glove because it's very hot. Okay. Let's give ourselves a bunch of lines. Reduce the opacity. Okay, this I would say is big enough. So, and let's immediately go for a darker color here at the base. By the way, we did start with immediately just using color, so no outlines. I find myself, if I were to sketch plants using lines, well, maybe not plants, let's just say trees, because trees are big, right? Plants could be small. Whenever I sketch trees, going immediately with color is actually better, because otherwise, if I start drawing trees with all of the detail that trees have, like a lot of leaves, lots of little branches, and all the leaves are different sizes, it's gonna take forever. And I'll end up with like a masterpiece looking thing. So it's actually easier for me to start immediately with color. And okay, I think I can keep on going. Although, let's go slightly, only ever so slightly brighter. Okay, a little brighter here somewhere. Let's go darker now. And the darks are pretty much parts of the tree that are more hidden in shadow. And the ones that are not You know, the ones that are more green looking are ones exposed to the light, to the sun, or whatever light that's currently there. So this is made in layers. The really bright ones are at the very top. Let's go smaller now. And we can eat away at some of those darks using more light. Like this. Okay. Let's try going for that dark tone of green, but not 100% opacity. Okay, just like this. So it's like there's a cast shadow. So when I paint on a normal layer, but it's set to not 100% opacity, it somewhat emulates the way multiply layers work. That's actually too black for it being that close to the light, so we're going to brighten it. And we're going to go down here and sort of sandwich it in between this gap here. Okay. Let's take some of that light and make it very intense. Make it turn yellow here. I guess you can say that this is more of a demonstration or a practice of attempting to draw a shape that resembles trees. How so? Just because it's quite chaotic, like a tree, and we're using a lot of green. And actually, just using that is enough to make it look like a tree. So you don't need to do all that much. A little bit of calligraphy is all it takes for you to make a convincing work of art. It's kind of like when you want to draw a bunch of people, like a crowd of people. All you have to do is just make a bunch of chicken scratch, and then you give them heads, like dots for heads. Maybe some of them would be wearing hats. Or you could give them like an umbrella, like a red or green umbrella. Give some of them brightly colored jackets or whatever, and there you go, you have a crowd of people, even though you didn't actually draw a crowd of people. Okay, slightly brighter. Okay, so this is the part where I add varying strengths of light, because when you have a plane that is brightly lit, it's not going to always be equally lit compared to other planes. Okay, let's try to imply some crevices. Dark crevices. And I am actually just making a bunch of calligraphic marks that, according to me, look good. And I mean that in a literal sense. Some people like calligraphy that looks flowing like that. Like this is the letter A, they like it looking like that. But my kind of calligraphy, the kind of calligraphy that I like, looks like this. So that's what I mean. Okay. And I think that is actually quite enough. And now to add a big tree trunk. Right down here. Too small. Let's go with this size. Let's make it go straight down. And it gets bigger towards the bottom, closer to where the root is, the roots. Okay. So it's very bright here. And very dark right where the trunk becomes the crown of the tree. Let's take some of that dark brown and apply it down here. And erase out parts that spill, or we can erase it, little bits of it on the side, just to make it uneven. And I think what it needs now is a bunch of branches. Let's take this green. Now. Okay. Let's add some on top. Some in this yellow color too, this one. Just make it small. And I think what this tree might need now is some more crevices, but with parts of the background showing through. So let's give it a quick background, something close to a cerulean. less saturated and brighter. So now we can go over here. Oh, no. Let's actually make a selection, and then we're going to feather this and then brighten it. There. So now we can paint over everything. Okay. Might not be big enough. So we are sort of erasing out the tree below, but not really using the eraser tool. Instead, we are painting over everything with the color of the background, a color that merges with the background, which is the same tone of blue as the background. Okay, so you've been watching me do that, right? And it might not look like there are parts of the tree that's got holes in them, you know, so you can see the sky behind it. But I'll show you how it will look like. There's a sky behind this tree very soon, so stay tuned. I promise it will make sense, because it might look like to you like a lot of blue on top of green, but it will make sense very soon. Just keep watching. Clean it up a bit over here. Okay, so now we're going to go back to using some green, darker green this time, to reinforce the illusion that there are crevices here. Little holes in the shape of this tree. Right, let's do it here as well. Looking quite convincing now. I think we can also do it here, right here. Oh, and I'm haloing around what I did, right? But if you don't want to, you can always make a new layer below, so you can paint over it without a care, because it's not going to overlap what you did above. Like this. But I don't do that much, because if I do that too much, it builds up a habit of me adding too many layers, and that's not good for the drawing experience, because the more layers that I use, the heavier it is for any drawing software to handle the drawing itself. So I like to keep it to a minimum, because if you use too many layers and your device is struggling to keep up with your drawing, then the device is gonna get hot, and going back and forth between the layers, and some undo and redo thingies that you're gonna do, it's not going to be as smooth. It might even crash. So I like to just paint over it as if I am painting for real on a canvas, because on a canvas you can't erase, you can only paint over things to erase them out. Okay, so I think we can now add different shades of the green, just to make it look more convincing. Because when you look at a tree, it's not always the same shade of green. You're going to have parts of the leaves that are more lush and vibrant, and other parts that are more pale and yellowing leaves because they haven't gotten enough sunlight or water. So it's never the same shade of green. So it would do you good to just add varying colors, varying shades of the one color you're using. And that includes the bright ones too. And this one. A little bit here, just to show that it's very bright. Okay. Let's just do these cross-hatching kind of thing now. So this is like giving trees, like if we were drawing eyes, and we, at the end of drawing the eye, we give it like one little white dot to make it look like it's alive. And this is that. It's like that, but with trees. And also we could take some of that color and then paint it here and there to make it seem as if there are just these leaves sticking out of the main big shape. By the way, if you hear rain, it's because it's actually raining here. Now, we've added some dark on the crevices, right? But it's also good to add some bright stuff. So a good example would be what I'm gonna do now. I think a good thing to do is to use this narrow brush. Oh no, let's do it on a completely new layer. Doggy. Oh my god. A couple of dogs from outside came in. Never mind. Okay, we've added like a branch over there. Add another one here. There. Let's add more here. Okay, so this one brush, I drew too long, so let's erase out parts of it. And now we're going to alpha lock it. And this isn't always the case, but a rule you could follow for branches on trees is if it's on a dark area, keep it bright, but if it's on a bright area, turn it dark. Like this. Just so you can tell that there's something there. I was using the paint roller brush, moist. Here we go. Take some of this color, about 70% opacity, and then we just blend it in. Darken it a little bit here and there. There. Okay. Now we have ourselves a convincing sketch of a tree. So, hope you learned something. That's one way you could sketch out trees. And this might be a bit overkill for it being just a sketch, but the point here is to show you how you could properly sketch a tree, at least one way of doing so. And at least for me, whenever I sketch something or when I draw something, like legit draw something, like an actual full drawing, I kind of take the same amount of time. I don't know why, and maybe you don't do this the way I do, but I could draw like a legit drawing and take 3 hours, and I could also sketch and it will still be 3 hours long. It's quite strange, but hopefully you learned something from this, because I sure did learn from doing it this way. And I did this about a couple of days ago, and here I am telling you about it, how I did it. So, hope you enjoyed that video. If you do, please give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe so I can come up again in your recommendations sometime in the future. And if you're not new here, thanks again for tuning in this week. Name's Velga the Observer. I'll see you in the next week's video. Goodbye.